Got a Panasonic VCR in. This one is a good one. If you can find one of these ones are actually keepers because they are regular VHS VCRs, but they can play back tapes recorded in SuperVHS. Panasonic called it SQPB, standing for S-VHS quasi playback. And they do a really good job of playing it. This one came in for service. Let's see if we can get this one going. I have one of these Panasonic VCRs. This one's got the Dynam Forest Metal Head 4. It was supposed to be a long-lasting head because Panasonics tended to not last that long. This one's a PV4361 from 1993. So, almost 30 years old, this machine. And it's got no picture, just snow. No sound either. Okay, now it doesn't even want to accept the tape. What's going on here? Almost looks like dirty heads. Well, we'll give them the fingernail treatment. Actually, we'll try cleaning them first and then give them the fingernail treatment. This is just a piece of copy paper soaked in 99% isopropyl alcohol. One of the interesting things about this machine is it features SQPB. So that's Super VHS quasi playback. If I can make this thing work, it should be able to play a Super VHS tape. Of course, it's not accepting any tapes now. There we go. I think we need a mode switch to clean on this. Are we gonna see a picture? Oh, what do you know? Just the heads were really dirty. Picture's not very good though. Picture's actually quite noisy.
When is a TV more than a TV?
So the heads were dirty, but it looks like we may have some caps in the power supply here that are going south. So let's just get into that. There's a lot of lines in the picture, a lot of horizontal, like herringbone type pattern lines. So let's just power this thing down and remove the power supply and check some of these caps in here, because how it's behaving, it looks like, and it also probably needs the mode switch cleaned on this one, because the way it was erratically loading there when I was trying to get the tape to go in, it kicked the tape out a few times. So I think we may have a bit of a problem with the mode switch on it. But this machine here certainly is one that's worth looking at, especially since it plays back Super VHS tapes. So let's just take a look at a couple of caps in here, because a few of these ones are known problem areas. The first thing we'll do is we'll make sure that the power supply is actually completely discharged by dead shorting the main capacitor. Main capacitor is right down here, so let's just make sure that it is indeed dead, which it is. No giant sparks or bangs or anything, and I wouldn't expect it not to be dead, because first of all, when the power is removed, the oscillator is still running, and the oscillator will continue to run until the power drops off to below its level to sustain operation. And two, most of these have a bleeder resistor across them that will dump any extra voltage left over once the unit is turned off. Some don't, Sony don't, but most of them do have a bleeder resistor across the main filter, just for that reason, to discharge them completely in the event that the unit has lost power. Okay, let's get the ESR meter out. We'll test a few of these caps. I bet you there's one or two of them. They aren't leaking that I can see yet, unless they're leaking down below here. Oh yes, yeah, this one looks like it's ready to go. Yeah, this one here is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this one here looks like it's starting to spew its guts. C13, 330 at 18 volts. We'll pop this one out and take a look at the ASR on it. This one here looks like it's starting to leak. Probably will start to leak if I leave this thing powered up for more than a couple minutes. It'll start to spray all over the board. See what I mean? Take a look. Take a look at the seal there. This one looks like it's just ready to start to actually leak liquid onto the board. You can see it right at the edge there. It almost looks wet, you see? That one there is going to be going bad. So if we look at the ESR, this is a 330. So if we look at the little chart here, a 330 should be somewhere between what a 220 and a 470 is rated. So between a 0.33 and a 0.18. I would expect to see for this capacitor here. Maybe even a 0.23 and a 0.12 if we go up to the next voltage up. But this one here, when we look at this one, it's a 0.26, so 0.27. So it's starting to, it hasn't gone out yet, but this will be the next thing that does go out, is this cap. So let's change this one. And we'll take a look and see if any of the other ones look like they're going bad as well. So say I could just start to see it on the picture, like a bit of a herringbone pattern on the picture. This one here, yeah, that one looks like it could be. I thought it looked like it was bulging, but it's actually not. It's actually black felt on top of it. It just makes it look like it's bulging. It's not. But this one here, definitely. And the other ones that usually go bad on here is, I think it's this one here. C12. C12 looks like it was changed. That one may have been changed before. It's a different type of cap. So that one may have been swapped out. It's a different brand. See, this one here is a Panasonic, right? This is an original Panasonic. We look at the label on this one. And this other one here is a Luxon. So this one was probably changed out before. And looking at the solder, it does look like that one was changed. So we'll change out this one and put a new one in, and then do the mode switch on this, and just see how this one performs, and we'll try playing a SuperVHS tape. It's always nice to be able to save a machine that can play S-VHS tapes. More important than say regular VHS machines, because as the SuperVHS machines fail, there's still SuperVHS tapes out there that may need to be played. So a machine that can play back S-VHS tapes, even if it can't play them, even though there's no S-video output, so it's not going to play them at the best possible quality through the S-video jack. It will play them back at the best quality that you can get over composite connection, which is going to be about 330 lines, 340 lines, somewhere in there. 400 off if you've got the separate S, the YC connection, the S-video connector. But over a conventional composite, you can still get about 330, which is better than the 240 of regular VHS. But again, it gives you that ability to play SuperVHS tapes. So it's good to try to save these machines. Okay, got a new one here. Let's put the new one in. That part's done. Now let's do the mode switch on this one, and we'll see how it looks. So to get the mode switch out on this unit, we need to take the chassis out. This one here is quite simple. We remove the red colored screws, top and bottom. That one, and there's a screw in the back that has to come out as well. And the front, of course, has to come off, and these two screws here, this one, and there's a couple more in the front that come out as well. Front cover comes off, release the catches. This plastic gets really brittle, because you got to be kind of careful, because you'll break the clips. If you're not careful on these ones, they will snap. Panasonic was notorious for using the cheapest plastic that they could find, made from recycled pop bottles. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It was just bad. Okay, one screw down here. This one and this one, and two more through here. That one and this one over here. Two more red screws in the bottom. Don't forget these ones. And then the mechanism will lift out. And just pop it out. The clips will unplug at the back. There's plugs at the back here. Just lift it, it'll lift right out like that. Here's our mode switch right here. So we're going to unsolder the mode switch and clean it up. The thing with these switches is that even if you've cleaned them before, if the machine's been sitting around for a while without being used, they will oxidate again. So this is something that is ongoing maintenance, that if the machine is regularly used, you won't have to do it. But if the machine sits around for a couple years without being turned on, then there's a good chance that it's going to have to be done again as soon as you turn it on. It's going to be bad. So just some solder wick, remove the solder from the switch, and then that one screw there, and the switch itself will lift out. Be sure you're aware of where the switch needs to go. Make sure that the alignment is correct before removing it. We're just going to show you the timing mark. So the timing mark here is the hole, and if we just turn the mechanism or the loading motor slightly, just make sure that the two holes are lined up when you take out the switch. That way it just makes putting it back that much easier. Oh yes, take out the wires here. The wires will trap the switch. You'll just remove the wires out of the way, and then the switch will pop right out. And then you can pop the switch apart by just squeezing down the 3 tabs. see the switch is looking kind of green, isn't it? Looks like at some point somebody has cleaned this. Not me, I don't use green grease, but somebody has cleaned this in the past and they put something in there that's green. So let's just clean this off and use some deoxit. So that cap that was in the power supply was likely changed by somebody else, not by me. This machine came to me from a customer, so I don't know the history of it. I thought maybe when I saw that cap change that I had changed it, but after seeing this green gunk in the, it's obviously a cleaner of some type. After seeing this in the mode switch, no, it's not my work because I use deoxit and have for years, and deoxit is red. It also doesn't leave like a grease behind. It leaves a film behind a coating, but it's not greasy like this. I use the tip of the applicator just to kind of lightly scratch the surface. That way it'll break the surface tension of any oxidation and allow the deoxit to make direct contact with the metal contacts. Give these springs just a little bit of a tension down. Throw the switch back together and spin it around a bit to polish the contacts. Okay, when we're lined up, the two arrows point at each other here, and of course the alignment hole will line up with the timing mark on the back side of the gear here once it's in place. There we go. You can see the two are pointing at each other. So we are good. Now the black screw. Reroute the wires. And resolder the switch. I will say that this is one of the more reliable chassis that Panasonic made. Yes, there is a fair bit of plastic on them, but it really didn't give a lot of problems like some of the other chassis. It's one of their better machines. These ones here were quite reliable. Another problem area on this one, looks like it's already been addressed on this one, is the IC here on the back. This is the capstan drive IC, but this one here has already been resoldered, so somebody serviced this in the past. That's a common problem on these ones, is that goes bad. And other than that, these ones here actually were fairly well built. We didn't have a lot of problems with these ones. This is a Japanese made Panasonic, of course. You can tell the build quality is pretty good on these ones. It had the chip count and everything was reduced. The chips are surface mounted on the other side, but really they did not give a lot of problems. And oh, who serviced this? It's somebody serviced this. Somebody's got their sticker on the back. December 28, 2000. Someone said they changed 4 caps in the power supply. Really? I didn't see 4 caps that were changed. But I saw one. You know, unless they changed these ones and this one went bad again. But I saw one that was changed because it was a different brand. Oh, maybe they changed this one here as well. That looks like a different brand. What brand is that? That's not a Panasonic one. Yeah, they changed this one. They changed that one and that one for sure. That's a Panasonic 105. And
what's that? Power supply made in Singapore? Yep.
Change anything else? Anyway, yeah. There's their sticker. Someone stuck that in the back. December 28, 2000. So, it was serviced 21 years ago. Done pretty good. I don't know how much it gets used. I would imagine that, like most people, they aren't using VCRs much, or they haven't used them for years, and people are starting to drag their VCRs out again to play old tapes. As I was telling you last week on that Mitsubishi machine, Disney tapes for the grandchildren. So I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Disney tapes, right? Or movies. What's wrong with streaming? Nothing. But I think we're going to see a revolt on all these streaming services. I'm predicting this. That we're going to see people not want to have all these different streaming services because of what they cost. I was just listening to the radio on Saturday at work, and the tech show, the guys were talking on there on CKNW, the geeks, the geek show, and one of the guys was saying, you know, Netflix just put up their price. It's now costing him $20 a month by the time he pays tax on it. And the way he put it, he says, yeah, my cable's starting to look better and better. He says, I pay $50 a month for that, and I get everything I want, so why do I want to pay an extra $20 for Netflix when their programming content keeps going down because they keep losing content to the likes of Disney Plus and Amazon? So now you're expected to subscribe to Disney and Amazon and Netflix and whoever else, HBO. And some people are thinking, you know, I got the old VCR. I've got all these tapes that I bought years ago. Let's just haul it out and hook it up and get some use out of it. Sure, the quality's not as good, but you know, I don't have to pay a monthly fee to use it. I think there's a few people that are thinking along the same lines, because I tell you, I've seen more VCRs. I hadn't seen any VCRs in the longest time, and all of a sudden I'm seeing VCRs come in for service. And I hadn't seen any VCRs. Like literally I would see, you know, if I saw one VCR in 6 months come in for service, I was lucky. Most of the ones that you saw me service were my own that I've had in my collection. But in the last
couple of weeks, the last month or so, I've seen several, and you know, it's unexpected. Haven't seen DVD players, and I don't really suspect that I will, because most of them are not really serviceable, and they're so cheap. You can still buy DVD players. You can't buy VCRs, and that might be the reason why I've seen the ones that I've seen, is it because you can't buy them anymore. But that's okay, I don't mind. I'll fix these things. If someone wants to fix a VCR, I'll fix it for them. No problem at all. I'll get this one together. We're going to try playing a SuperVHS tape on it as well as a VHS tape, and just see how it works. There, all buttons are clicking. That's a good sign. Plug it in. Okay, power on. Grab a tape or two. I'll grab one of my VHS tapes first. See how that one plays. Looking good. Looking real good. So there's playback of the machine with the top cover on. Of course, if I take out the grounding screw from the top cover, watch what happens. Plasma TV interference. Okay, now it's not there. If I turn it around, it might be. There we go. Plasma TV interference, you see? And when I put the grounding screw back in, yeah, see? Screw is out, screw is in. Metal cover. Ground the metal cover. That's what they use to shield the video amp circuit and so forth from all the interference created by these monstrosities of displays called plasma we all love so much, right? Got a great picture, but man oh man, did they throw out a lot of noise. Let's try a Super VHS tape and see how a Super VHS tape plays. It should play it perfectly, or as close to perfectly as possible. Let it track up. Auto tracking should kick in. Okay, it looks like my tape path might be a smidge out of alignment. I'm just going to try tweaking this just with a screwdriver ever so slightly without even putting a scope on it to see if it'll come in. I may be better doing this away from the plasma TV and doing it on a CRT set. That might give me a little better results. Well, it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to fire up the scope. We'll put the scope on it and see how good I got the RF just by doing it by eyeball. I gave the exit side guide down here, this one, about a quarter of a turn clockwise. Let's just see how the scope looks. Scope test points are they down here, or somewhere down here. Which one's which? One of these ones. We'll figure it out in a sec. Got my scope warmed up. So our test points are as follows, for you guys following along at home. Test point 2, that's your RF. And this one here, whatever that one's called, test point 6003 it looks like. Anyway, it's the one on the left. That's the switch point. This one here is the RF. We look on the scope. Now remember, I eyeballed this. I haven't touched it since I eyeballed it. Take a look at this. That's about as good as I think I'm ever going to see it. Look at that. It's absolutely perfect. I don't think I could get that any better if I tried. But let's just put the screwdriver in there and I'll try the exit guide again. And you'll see that? See, I had it perfect. And the entry side guide is, and it's tight. The other one's kind of loose. Probably a lock screw on here. I'll see if I can tighten it. Okay, let's just take out the tape and look and see if there's a little lock screw for this guide, which there is. It's right on this side here. So on the back here, there's a little Phillips. It's a Phillips head screw. Yes. Just get that little tighten down, so that guide won't move again on its own. Disconnect the scope. However, I'm connected here. Now we'll put the top on it and look at this on the plasma. To kill the sound. So there it is. Playing back a SuperVHS tape and playing it back properly. They do have other stuff on here in SuperVHS, and I'll try my EP SuperVHS tape as well. But this was recorded on a PVS 350 camera, but it's not it's a dub because it's got hi-fi sound. So once the aquarium part ends, I think I have some stuff that I recorded off of Laserdisc, some of the demo discs that were around at the time. Okay, this was taken off a Laserdisc. Welcome to the world of Sony LD. I have this disc, and of course, damn tape. I want to clean the heads again on this thing. Hate it when that happens. Bloody tapes. There you go. That's how it's supposed to look. This would obviously film down at SeaWorld, because that's the only place where they have killer whales with people swimming with them, of all the idiotic things to do. I don't think they do that anymore, because one of these trainers, and it might have been one of the trainers that's in this video, was taken out by one of those killers right in front of an audience too, to the horror of everybody else. But as you can tell, I'm not really someone in favor of keeping killer whales, or any mammals for that matter, in zoos for the entertainment of others. I'm not a tree hugger, but I'm certainly not for capturing killer whales or any other type of marine mammal and putting them on display. It's one thing if they've been injured and they can't survive in the wild. You know, if one's been hit by a ship or something and it's not going to be able to survive in the wild, and it's brought into an education center aquarium because that's the only way it's going to survive, I don't have a problem with that. But bringing them in for entertainment is something that we shouldn't be doing. And it'd be a great day when all the aquariums stop these shows, like we've done here at our own aquarium. Although now it's been sold, so who knows what's going to happen. But anyway, this machine here is working. It's got a great picture. As you can see, this is a SuperVHS tape that's playing on this quasi-playback machine. And if you're looking for a VCR, you could probably pick up an SQ PB one at a good price, because a lot of people didn't realize the capabilities of these machines, and they really had, very good playback circuits that will play back any VHS tape, SuperVHS or regular. So if you're looking to buy a machine, you can find one of these SQ playback machines. There's that tape again. I'm going to have to probably clean the heads again before I send this out, but if you can find an SQ PB, that's what Panasonic called theirs. Other companies like Sharp just would say Super VHS playback. But any of the quasi machines, they do a really good job. And say you're splitting hairs to see the difference. The only difference is, because it's only a composite output, you might get a little bit of crosstalk between the chroma and the luminance signal right at 3.58 megahertz for NTSC, or 3.57954563 for the purists
out there that want it right down to the exact frequency. But where you would see that is if you're watching a hockey game, for example, and the referee's at a specific size on the screen, and his stripes on his uniform will bleed, and you'll see colored dot crawl on it. That's really the only difference, is the dot crawl around contrasting colors. But other than that, they're going to look pretty darn close. Anyway, this one's done. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.